In today's gospel reading, we have from John, the 21st chapter of the Gospel of John. What we have is the appearance of Jesus after his resurrection, but before his ascension. And so the apostles have now gone from Jerusalem. They're now up in the Galilee. They're waiting. One of the things about waiting is that waiting gets kind of boring. So Peter says, let's go fishing. So let's just go back to what we know, what we've done before. Let's go back to it. But even in the midst of that, what we see is that the Lord orchestrates a way of helping them to understand that their lives are now going to be changed. What we have in the Gospels and what we have in the Old Testament is that meeting equals mission. So think about Abraham had his meeting with God and who was changed, in Moses or Samuel, or in the New Testament, Mary, and now the apostles, that they have this meeting with the Lord and that is going to be changed. It's not going to be going back to fishermen. It's not going to be going back to swapping stories about what a great time we had with the Messiah and, talking to their kids and their grandchildren and just kind of allowing the opportunity for the Messiah to just kind of go into the wayside and just becoming a part of Jewish history, a small, tiny part of Jewish history, and then fading out into nothingness. No, the Lord's not going to allow that to occur. So what we have is we have the perfection. We have the seven of the 11 apostles who are there. They then go into the boat. We think about the boat, and I want to thank Bishop Barron because he gave a lot of the instruction on the symbolism that's there in the gospel. So think about the boat, think about the waves, the ocean, the sea being really that place of uncertainty, that place of problems, the place where where things can be disruptive, where storms can come up. And so the boat provides that measure of safety. So they're there in the boat. Then they see the Lord Jesus. They're there fishing at night. They're fishing at night, which is the time to fish. But again, night refers to, again, that time of uncertainty, the time of not being there present in the light, where we have the dawn. Finally, they see the Lord in the dawn. And in the dawn, they see him. And so they have that appearance of the Lord. And so Peter comes out of the boat, goes to the shore. The other apostles drag the net. And so think about also the net as being that means of bringing people to Christ, that means of bringing people. And so there are 153 fish. They say it's kind of represented all the species of fish known at that time. So John is saying that they were bringing everybody. Think about a large number and bringing everybody in. And for this time, the net wasn't torn. Back in Luke chapter 5, the net was torn. Jesus said to Peter to go out into the boat to allow the amplification of the sound waves, so his voice to be heard on the people on the shore. When that was done, he said, let down the nets. When they did, the nets were to the point of tearing. But this time they're not to the point of tearing. So think about the fact that the completion of the Lord Jesus, his passion, his death, and resurrection. So now the message is complete and they can bring in all this people. And so they bring them to the shore. The Lord then asks Peter the threefold question, do you love me? And he says, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. And again, the mission, feed my lambs, feed my sheep, tend my sheep, all those kind of ideas of mission that are there in the gospel. But the other question always becomes is when the Lord Jesus asks, do you love me? He's using agape. He's using a love that is a supreme kind of a love, a genuine love, a high level of love. When Peter says, yes, Lord, you know that I love you, he's using a lower level of love, of kind of a friendship love. So, do you love me? Yes, Lord, you know I love you as a friend. Do you love me? Yes, Lord, you know love me as a friend. Then finally, the Lord Jesus changes his word. So, do you love me as a friend? Yes, Lord, you know that I love you as a friend. But the question on that is always going to be, is it particular? Is that a distinction that is needed? And the reason why kind of wondering about that is because the the early church fathers never really brought about that distinction. They never really talked about that distinction. So is it Peter who thought that he was going to follow the Lord no matter what, humbling himself and saying, I'm not going to set my love that high. I'm going to set it at a level that I can attain, that friendship level? Or is it that they're synonymous and that they're pretty close and it really doesn't matter? That's always kind of the question. But again, what we think about with this gospel is we think about the fact that the mission of the people has changed, so that in the time of Jesus' resurrection until his ascension, he's giving them the mission. He's instructing them as to their inability to come to understand who the Messiah was. So he's giving them the completion of who the Messiah was by his passion, his death, and resurrection. He's giving them and instructing them into who he is, to be able to preach that message, and then giving them the mission to go and not to be fishermen, not to go out on the sea, not to bring in loads of fish, but instead to bring in people into the church, to be those people who want to bring in others by that zeal of the Lord Jesus, bringing in others to Christ. Thanks and God bless.